How to respond when people say the church already has billions. That's the topic today that we're going to be looking at when you are fundraising for your Catholic apostolate, how to overcome these types of responses on, well, the church already has so much money. Now, before we dive in, my name is Brice Sokolowski, the founder of CatholicFundraiser.net, a website that is helping Catholics with their fundraising. Now, before we dive in, also I want to make sure that you download absolutely for free my 10 commandments to Catholic fundraising. These are 10 things that I really recommend a Catholic should be considering to do on a regular basis if they're really looking to improve their fundraising. This guide, I found it helps me stay aligned with my faith and my mission, and I don't get lost in the whole abyss and the vortex of fundraising. So make sure that you download that. It's already been downloaded by thousands of Catholics. Overall consensus, thumbs up. Even a nun responded. A few nuns have actually responded, giving some comments and suggestions on how to improve it. So make sure that you download absolutely for free the 10 commandments to Catholic fundraising. Okay, the big topic, the church already has lots of money. The church already has billions. How do you respond to this? Well, step one is to say, yeah, the church does have lots and lots and lots of money. But does that mean your apostolate has all that money? Does your parish have all that money? The answer is no, because the Catholic Church works off of it's part of social teaching, the doctrine of social teaching, but it's just a common practice of how to operate is subsidiaries. So there's this model where, everyone is more or less independent. You're part of an organization, but you're not necessarily, sharing your resources all the time. For example, the great state of Texas doesn't necessarily share everything with Oklahoma. And it's obvious because of that. We're part of the same United States, but we're not sharing our resources. It's the same thing with the Catholic Church. So they are separate. And yes, the Catholic Church does have a lot of money, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because that's just the way things operate. So first and foremost, just don't disagree with them and say, yes, has a lot of money, but we're separate. We're under one umbrella. We're under one Holy Spirit, one Catholic Church, but doesn't necessarily mean we're sharing everything. Then you get into the whole topic, obviously, of well, why don't you guys share some more? So this is my responses to those. So first, just agree with them. And then second is, if you had 2,000 years of building and creating and expanding an organization, let's not even think about the Catholic Church. The largest companies, the largest countries, the most prominent are usually the ones that have been around for a while. So we, 2,000 years later, and even further, if we look at how the church has developed, we're blessed to have all of this at our disposal. But it's not to say that we can sell chapels, cathedrals, missions, convents, monasteries, paintings, architecture, artwork, all that stuff. That's what makes the Catholic Church even more beautiful, is not religion. And then you start getting into the whole discussion of religion if you're not speaking to Catholics. But if you are speaking just to Catholics and say, look, we're blessed to have this patrimony that's been handed to us, and we need to take care of it. I personally wouldn't want to be the generation that sells everything that really isn't mine or ours to really get rid of. It's ours to pass on to the next generation. Again, all of these beautiful things that we have, they're there to help us get closer to God. So you can't really see them as assets to sell. Because that's the beauty of the Catholic Church. And even if you think of just sell it all to feed the hungry and the poor, there are definitely things that we can do and possibly some things to sell. But for the most part, when you bring in people and you help people with the Catholic Church, one of the great things is that they see the beauty of our faith. So if we sell everything, they're just coming into any other organization. They don't get the benefit of seeing the beauty that's been passed down to us over 2,000 years. So that would be point number 2 on, after 2,000 years, we've got a lot. And then for the negatives, you could say that, inside the church, there's still a lot of corruption. So, the church is corrupt, and I'm speaking specifically about people that you would fundraise that are probably at your parish, that are connected with you, and say, yeah, there's definitely, corruption, just like at the very, very beginning with Judas. So it's something that we deal with, but it doesn't negate all the great, I just can't imagine the apostles saying, like, look, Judas is really soiling everything. I don't want to be a part of this organization. Sorry, Jesus, we're going to have to either restart or I'm out of here. So it's been happening since the beginning of time, and that's just the way it is, and it shouldn't ruin all the good. Now, with that said, if somebody doesn't want to give and they're just saying these things, it might be, it's up to them, So my big recommendation with all of that I've said is, have a dialogue with them, mention the things that I've stated to you. But at the end, if they just constantly criticize, my best recommendation in fundraising is just to say thank you so much for your time, and that's it. And just end the discussion that way, or have a discussion about something else. But you can't convince people, if they're going to be just fixated that the church already has tons of money, they should do things differently. Well, yeah, there are, and you've agreed with that. And we have a lot of things, but we need to keep them because we're passing on to the next generation. And it's not really all those resources aren't really connected with you. So you've responded, but if they don't want to accept those responses, then there's nothing really much more that you can do. So anyways, that's it from me. I hope this has been helpful, especially when you're going out there and getting these types of responses. God love you, and I look forward to speaking with you next week. Bye-bye.